hard to capture, extravagant, resurrect the track and it's militant. And I react like a convict and start killing. It's manifested. The gods work like appliances, dealing in my sacred life.
Yo, what's going on, guys? So before we get into today's video, just gotta say that today's video is gonna be brought to you by Beautiful Halo. And I gotta say, if you guys want to purchase some really awesome anime merchandise, everything from Boruto / Naruto to Black Clover, My Hero Academia, Dragon Ball, click down in the description box and use my link below in order to do so. It's also a really great way to help support the channel. As a bit of an added bonus, a lot of their anime merchandise, like you saw in the video just now, is on sale right now, and there's free worldwide shipping on anything over $29. But with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into today's video. Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Naruto Explained here, bringing you guys a major spoiler for the Boruto manga, which is coming out in a few days on Tuesday of this month on the 20th. And so for the anime only fans, this is the time of the month where I am going to be talking about spoilers. But with all that being said though, if you are still here, then I am assuming you are okay with me talking about spoilers. So yo, these latest spoilers, they just keep trickling in and in and in just when I think that I'm done. Just when I think I'm done, they give me more spoilers and they keep pulling me back. Like, yo, so here's what's going on in the Boruto manga right now. So we have new information about Isshiki's relationship with Kaguya, and it's time to sit down for this one, okay? So, you know, people such as myself, we got all big brain and everything, and we're looking at the Isshin Boshi mythology because of everything that happens in regards to how Naruto characters are used, and the fact that you can look and find loose connections with a lot of the mythology that Masashi Kishimoto used in the 72 volume Naruto manga, and in the Boruto manga with how Kodachi and Ikimoto have been doing things. We've been seeing little small connections to the mythology. Well, they just said, okay, we see what you guys are thinking, we're gonna throw a zinger in here. So the zinger in the relationship with Kaguya and Isshiki is Kaguya was supposed to be the sacrifice. They were supposed to sacrifice Kaguya for their plan to harvest chakra fruit. So they've made a retcon to the story. This is interesting. This is very interesting because if I'm not mistaken, I've got to go back and I've got to pull up my old laptop where I have Naruto Databook 4, the translation saved on there, but I've got to go back and look at that. But if I'm not mistaken, in the Naruto Databook 4, which was written by Masashi Kishimoto, it stated that Kaguya was the leader of the Otsutsuki clan. I might have that wrong. But I think I remember reading that in Naruto Databook 4. Now, I'm not going to say whether or not this is a good or a bad retcon until I actually read the chapter and see the context in which it's used, and to see if there's some type of way that they're trying to pass this off. But the fact is that I'm somebody who, I've said numerous times, I'm not a big fan of Kaguya, and it's mainly due to how she was introduced in the Naruto manga. Kaguya popped up very briefly in the manga. There was not really any foreshadowing. You have to really go back and stretch and dig to sit there and say, well, they foreshadowed her with the Byakugan being stronger than. I don't want to hear that shit. I don't want to hear that. Like, that's some very loose connections. Kaguya was not name dropped until roughly a year and a half before her reveal, and then it just came out of nowhere. Like, Zetsu was like, oh, I'm pulling the strings behind everything. I thought Kaguya was absolute trash, and so once we got to the anime, and the anime tried to do some backdoor stuff to add layers to her character, I said, okay, well, you know, that's a little tragic. I can kind of give them a pass on that. And I know when I talked to Eternal Hokage behind the scenes, even he said, well, I didn't read the manga, I just got in via the anime, and I was always okay with it because of how the anime handled it. And so when you look at the manga, the Boruto manga takes both continuities, and the Boruto manga kind of flips some stuff around and kind of adds on to what both the anime and manga and novels have been doing. And so when you look at what they're doing here, I think that this is actually something that can work to make Kaguya a relatable character. I said, like, hey, if they make this to where Isshiki was her betrothed, and Isshiki finds out that she came to Earth and she ended up getting bunker busted by one of those humans deep inside of Kaguya, slaughtering that Otsutsuki clan pussy, that soul crushing pussy, that angry kitty cat that Kaguya's probably got. Like, the fact that Isshiki walks in and sees somebody just leaving the nuts hanging out of his betrothed, who would not get angry at a situation like that? Like, I totally feel for Isshiki because these bitches ain't loyal, man. Kaguya got some BHC, some big human cock, because he found out that like Kaguya had some human, he was deep inside, and then when he tried to get inside of Kaguya, what he ended up finding out was the fact that it was just a little bit deeper than what he was used to. And ends up having the children, and she ends up killing trying to kill Isshiki because Isshiki was going to use her children to harvest that new chakra fruit. If that was something that was going to happen, then sure, absolutely sure, I understand, makes Kaguya very relatable. But going this route where Kaguya herself was supposed to be the sacrifice, this actually makes me look at Kaguya a bit different. I'm almost to the point where I look at Kaguya as a character and I'm ready to take her out the trash bin. I have to see how it's handled, but as of right now, I've always said Kaguya is hands down the worst character in the Naruto franchise. And I'm saying that strictly off the manga. And so for them to be making those efforts right there, I definitely think that this is something that can work, because you guys hear me say a lot how, you know, a good character needs to be able to generate heat, especially when it comes to a good villain. And so by making Kaguya a sacrifice like this makes you look at her interactions in the Naruto manga a lot differently, because now we're understanding why she felt so threatened to where she needed to build an army to defend herself. Because when that was dropped in the Naruto manga in 2014, all of us said she's the goddess of the verse. Why the hell does she need an army? And then we find out Momoshiki and Kinshiki were supposed to be stronger than her, and then in 2016 they throw us for another zinger and they introduce Urashiki in the shadows for one of the episodes when Kaguya is saying they might come to Earth for me one day. And now in the Boruto manga we find out that there's a fourth Otsutsuki. So now we're understanding that Kaguya genuinely felt like she was being hunted. And so now that makes you look at all of her interactions in a much different light, because you have a fight or you have a flight response, and we were seeing both responses out of Kaguya. And when somebody's in a situation like that to where their life is genuinely at risk and the lives of the people that she cares for, so in this case her children, are at risk, Kaguya not only has that aggressive tendency to protect her children and to protect her own life, but she also has that tendency to want to try and escape, because she knows that she can't take on that many powerful people by herself. And so when you see that constant flip-flop like that, that's the thing about human beings. We're, by our very nature, we're contradictory. We do whatever it takes to survive. There's no logic in some instances when we look at what we need to do in order to get through A to Z. And so I think that doing something like that puts you in a situation where you have no choice. You have absolutely no choice but to look at Kaguya and actually feel sympathy for her, because she's being quoted and viewed in this chapter as being a traitor to her race. So it goes by extension that Kaguya, it isn't just Isshiki that's pissed with her, but there could be potentially more Otsutsuki. Again, this is based off of the spoilers, so there might be some context that is missing. That's part of the reason why I tell you guys all the time, like, I typically will not talk about spoilers, because until you get the full context, there's a chance that there might be something that's wrong or missing, and I don't want to jump out too early. But I've seen more than one person kind of talk about this stuff to a point where I do feel comfortable in actually bringing this conversation to you guys. So what I want to know is if Isshiki fails here, which it looks like he will, but if Isshiki fails here, who else is coming here? Because there has to be somebody else that is aware of what it is that Kaguya has done. And there has to be some type of checks and balance system inside of the Otsutsuki clan. I think it has to extend further than just moving in partners. And that kind of opens up the door even more for what's going on in terms with the partners, because if you need an Otsutsuki to make a sacrifice, that brings up the whole question of, could there potentially have been 3 people moving in pairs instead of just 2? Could there have been 3 people, sets of 3s, 1 for a sacrifice, 1 as a guardian, and then 1 who does the harvesting? They're adding so much extra lore to the series that right now I'm not gonna say it's hard to keep track of, because adding more stuff slowly over time, it just gives you more fodder to look at. And Kishimoto did this in the Naruto manga when we were getting stuff weekly, and over time we would get enough to actually piece everything together. And the benefit that the anime fans are going to have with this is that the anime is going to put it together in a way to where it's going to be revealed in a way to where they can start using extra flashbacks and scenes with previous information we already have in order to make everything fit together. So this is going to be interesting to see how they pull this off. So my question to you guys is, does this extra information, does this change your opinion of Kaguya Otsutsuki? Let me know down in the comment section below. But as always, guys, if you like anything I had to say, don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, and share. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. Have an awesome day, guys.